Hello, welcome to Salt City Knits. I'm Emily, and this is a podcast all about my making life. I am coming to you from Salt Lake City, Utah, and it is August. I almost said April. That's how well I'm doing today. August 15th, and this is episode 15. I feel like a crazy person gathering up everything today and trying to catch some photos and a few things. It's been very, very busy recently. And I've mentioned before our nonprofit organization that my husband and I founded that is a youth leadership organization. Our kind of pinnacle events are next week. We've been working all through the last 12 months to prepare for this and have been working with the teens since basically February of this year. And so this is kind of our big pinnacle event, and it's just so much work. So we've been super busy, and I have felt a little chaotic and a little bit, I don't know. My brain is full to overflowing. Let's just say that. So I am really happy that I was able to work this out and figure out a way to spend some time today to record this podcast. I missed it last week, and I'm really happy to be here. Let's see. Today I have a little bit of a family update, and then I have some finished objects, and I don't have any works in progress to show today because the only one I'm working on is secret. And I do have some pattern news, and I was trying to think if I have a book recommendation. I do. It's not going to be a new one to anybody, but I have a book recommendation as well. So let's do finished objects. So first off, since we are coming toward the end of summer sock camp, and there's details about summer sock camp linked below. And I also just knocked something down. Can I reach it? Yes, I can. I have my probably last pair of finished socks for summer sock camp this year. So this is 5 pairs for me, my 5th pair, and they are so fun. I love these self-striping yarns for just a vanilla sock. How nice is that? This is a 64 stitch sock, and I knit it for a women's size 10, and I did an afterthought heel. So I cast on, knit the whole, did the cuff, and then knit this whole tube, then knit my toe, and then went back in and cut the stitches, picked up stitches, and then cut in between and knit the heel, which is basically the exact same way I knit my toe. And it fits me beautifully. I find that I typically go to a heel flap and turn and gusset for the best fit. But I'm thinking this is just it fits so well as well. And I think that part of that is because I put 5 plain knitting rounds in before I start my decreases for my toe, for my heel, basically just the same as knitting a toe. And that just makes it fit really, really well. But I do not like the fit of short row heels. Those just don't work for me. They're too shallow. So, but that's okay because I'm very happy with the 2 heels that I have. If I am doing a yarn that I don't worry about the interruption in the stripes, then I do a heel flap and gusset. And if I want to keep those stripes just pristine, then I do an afterthought, and that's my way of doing it. So this yarn is from the Cozy Knitter, and it was a sock set on her Bliss base, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. And so it's the Cozy Knitter. And this colorway is called Old Romance. And I really like her sock sets, although I had forgotten about this little fun feature until after I finished knitting my socks. or I might have done some things a little bit differently, but she has an 80, if I remember, 80 or 85. I think it's an 85 gram main colorway, which is the self-striping, and then a 30 gram mini that is a coordinating mini, which means I could have done my cuffs with this as well. Often with a 20 gram mini, I will just do cuffs and toes or just heels and toes. You know, I only do 2 of the 3 contrasting with 20 grams. I could have done the cuffs, however, because I kind of forgot about the fact that she has this ratio. I wasn't really paying attention. I was in a hurry and distracted, and I wanted a quick grab and go project to take with me to work on in meetings. And anyway, but isn't that just fun? I love that really pretty steely gray. And then this one has the gray as well as the 2 shades of pink and 2 shades of green. So it just turned out really nice. Yeah, I'm really happy with those. And they, like I said, they fit me perfectly, which I love. So those are going in my sock drawer for, or maybe they might go in a gift pile. Because like I said, my 2 daughters both wear the exact same size as me. So we'll see. I need to actually catalog the socks that I've been stashing through the year, because I know I love to do socks at Christmas time, and I want to make sure I have a pair of socks for everybody in my immediate family at least. And so I should probably go through those. But anyway, they're so fun. Old Romance by the Cozy Knitter. I love her base. Very, very nice base. Yeah. And I like it because I used most of that yarn. I know my poor fingernail is dead, but I used most of that self-striping, but I do still have some of that gray left. So again, that was pair number 5 for summer sock camp. So that's pretty good considering how busy my summers are and how much other knitting I've done. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. I am so excited about this next project. I haven't even talked about this at all. I started this after my last episode and just knit like the wind on it. And this is the Celtic Myths shawl. And it is a gift for a dear friend, and it's so beautiful. Look at that. Didn't it turn out just beautifully? I love it. It is a very simple construction along the whole body, which is just knit in stockinette. And then you turn and knit your border, this beautiful Celtic border, Celtic knots kind of border going this direction. And so you're knitting back and forth this way to do all that cabling. And yeah, bonus points if you can see my mistakes. There's at least 2 of them that I know of. So, oh, the color keeps changing because of the lighting. The lighting is so interesting today. It has been for the last few days. You can start to see that the light is starting to change. We're getting that late summer kind of light. It kind of makes you feel like fall is on the way, even though we know we've got time still. You can tell anyway. But yeah, the light keeps changing. This is definitely like kind of an emerald green. And she is gonna love this. So again, a dear friend who this has both the color and the Celtic inspiration, has a lot of significance for her. So I'm really excited to give this to her next week. And I know she's gonna cry, which is, you know, that's always a good thing. But isn't it just beautiful? So I will put the a link to the pattern below, but it's called Celtic Myth or Celtic Myths. I think it's Myth. And I can't remember the designer name right now, but it will be in the description box below. But it makes me just want to make more crescent shawls. And I don't know, what is your favorite shape of shawl? I would love to hear from you. Do you prefer a triangle, a crescent, half circle, a wrap, like a rectangular wrap, or an asymmetrical triangle? I mean, there are others. There's square shawls and circular shawls, but I would love to know what your favorite is to knit and to wear. So put that in the description box below. And I will actually be drawing a winner from all the comments that include something about their shawls. And I will be giving away a choice of my patterns to that winner. So I will announce that on the next podcast. So definitely comment below with that. Anyway, so yep, there it is. I just love it. And this yarn, I knit a sweater using this yarn. I'm pretty sure I've talked about that on the podcast. Yes, I did. It's an all over lace sweater. And this is using Yarn Cafe Creations Biscotti sock base, which is an 85 merino, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, in her green tea colorway. And this is what I have left over. This was, well, that doesn't really mean anything because I was using leftovers from the shawl. So I had one full skein that I had left over, and then I had 3 little partial skeins, and it all added up to just under 200 grams. So it was just under 2 full skeins, but I still had a little bit of leftover. The great thing about this shawl pattern is the way that it is designed. Every time you repeat your increase section on the body of the shawl, you are adding 1 repeat of the shawl border pattern. So you really could alter the size of this as much as you wanted. You would just need to know, and she even gives you some pretty basic information about the amount of yarn you would need based on your sizing. I mean, I think it's just, anyway, yeah, it's pretty basic, but I think that you could definitely make this much bigger. I think if I were to make this for me, I would want to make it bigger. I think it's not a shawlette. I think it's a shawl, but it's not a really large shawl. And I tend to like a shawl that I can just wrap, you know, and be as wrapped up in it as possible. So anyway, but I could definitely, if I had had more yarn, I could have made it bigger, but I think it's actually going to be perfect for the recipient to just put around her shoulders. And this recipient is always cold, so that's another benefit. Anyway, I love this base. I love this yarn. It's such a great Yarn Cafe, Christy. She's fabulous, and her yarn is gorgeous. This is falling out of the little ball. I love her little, everything is based on, you know, the cafe. So she's got like little cup cozies as her, like, and they snap on too. There's no staples or anything. Cup cozies as her ball bands. Anyway, she has some gorgeous, absolutely stunning fall colors out right now as well. So there is that. Okay, so my next finished objects, this is a stack of finished objects. And I was just needing a palette cleanser one night, and I was watching, I think I was watching a movie or something, and I just ended up deciding to crochet some dishcloths. But I wanted to do something different than what I had done before. And so I designed these little flower dishcloths that I'm calling the Garden Dishcloth. Well, and these are the dishcloth size, and these are the face cloth size. And I was using for this Hobbii cotton yarn. It's called the Rainbow. So it comes in a million different colors, 100% cotton, and it's a DK weight. So this is the gray color that I used, which is color 73. So that's this one. And then I used, let's see, this is color 27. I had somebody asking me for colors last time. The problem is I don't actually know what all the colors are that I used. I know those two. And then I knit, or excuse me, I crocheted these as well. And they go so quickly. I think for this size, it takes me 25 minutes to crochet one of these. And I use a 4.5 millimeter hook. So I actually wrote this pattern up really quick, and I will be publishing that right away. Hopefully it'll be already available by the time this comes out. If it isn't, it will be shortly thereafter, and it will be on my website and on Ravelry. I'll probably, I don't know, I'll probably do it for like $2 or something. It's a pretty simple pattern. My big thing is that I probably am not going to do many more free patterns because people want a lot of support still for patterns. And that just, anyway, it's not about the pattern itself. It's about the answering of all the messages and everything after. So yeah, anyway, but those will be available, and I just love them. This yarn is a very soft, squishy cotton. It is not a squeaky cotton, if that makes sense. Very fun to crochet, really, really fast and enjoyable to work these up. And I like the little loops, so you can hang them up in your shower or next to your sink. If you have like a little hook next to your sink or anything like that. Anyway, and my sister Deborah and I were talking about how fun it would be to find a little tin, a little, you know, like a little biscuit tin style, you know, and biscuit tin. I am not English, but half my friends are. So I end up picking up all of their terms for things. Anyway, and filling that up with these little face cloths, wouldn't that be a fun Christmas present? Or birthday present or Mother's Day or anything? I just think they're so fun. So I'm excited to use these and make 8 bajillion more of them because they are so fast. So you can just, oh, and the other fun thing is I got out of one of these little things of yarn, I got 2 of the larger size. So it takes less than 25 grams to make the larger one. And again, this is a DK weight, but they're just fun. So they're utilitarian, they're useful, but they're also really cute, and that makes me happy. And the reason I named them the garden, besides the fact that they are flowers, is that I am, you know, all my patterns are named after places in Utah, especially all my patterns from the last year. And the garden is a famous restaurant here. So it's kind of fun. That is actually all the knitting that I have today. And we're only 18 minutes in to this video. Who knew? Like I said, I have a secret project that I am working on in my little local knitting group. There are a few of us. It's a fairly small group, and we're all super close friends and just really enjoy each other. Every year we do this really fun thing that we call our secret yarn swap, secret project swap, something like that. So in April, every one of us brings a skein of yarn, and we fill out a little questionnaire and put our little skein of yarn and our questionnaire in a brown bag that you can't see through, and we all end up taking one home, and nobody knows who has who, but we knit something for that person using their yarn that they brought. And it is just one of our very favorite things of the whole year. And in October, we exchange them. And it is so much fun. It's so much fun to see what people come up with and the creativity. And so I am working on that project, and so I cannot show it, but I will for sure once it's all done and been given to its recipient. But it's a lot of fun. Okay, pattern news. So I mentioned the dishcloth. The washcloths will be available. If they're not already, they will be in the next few days. So those are really fun. Also, Oquirrh Sunset is now available and out into the wide world. And I have the most patient test knitters because I have been so busy with all of the heroic youth craziness over the last months. I was not the best correspondent during that test knit. I just have to say that I did not do the best job there. And I have learned that next year I will not release or test a pattern during those months of July and August. Not great timing. It's just not the best timing. I am too busy during that time. So they were so patient with me and did a fantastic job despite my neglect. And so Oquirrh Sunset is available and Dixie Creek is still out. And I am now putting out a testing call for the Sugar House Shawl, which I just realized I didn't grab, but I will insert pictures here. They are not the best pictures. They're work in progress pictures. Let's put it that way. They're placeholder photos. But this is that cute ruffly shawl that a lot of you have asked me about since I showed it a couple of episodes ago. And so that testing call is live now, and the form is linked in the video below. That form will be open through August 29th. What are the days of the week? 7th, 8th, 28th. Through August 28th, that testing call will be open. And then the test knit will run through the month of September. So if you are interested in testing that pattern, it is a 2 skein shawl. You need 2 skeins, fingering weight yarn with at least 430 yards per skein. And they should be coordinating colors. And there'll be more details in that testing call form that is linked in the box below. So feel free to fill that out, and I'm excited to share that with you. So because that pattern is going to be releasing in October, we are going to do a shawl knit along for October and November. So this is a great time to just knit any shawl, but I will have some fun prizes to give away. And if you knit with any of my shawl patterns, whether that's Dixie Creek or Sugar House or Oquirrh Sunset or the Scrappy Bias shawl or the Good Cheer shawl. Those are my 5 shawl patterns that will be out by then. Then you'll have extra entries in the giveaway. So I will start telling you more information about prizes for that giveaway coming up here in the next month or so. But I thought it's just a fun time. You know, shawls are a great thing to be working on during those wonderful fall season, as well as for gifts and so on. So it just seems like a great time to do some shawls. So that is my pattern news. I think that is everything. So let's talk about books. And I'm trying to see if I brought my copy. I didn't. That is okay. That's because my son has it. So my favorite book, I realized I have never brought this one up. I've never talked about my favorite book. I just realized I probably do have another copy. Yes, I do. I have my old copy here. It is, you can tell it's a favorite book when it looks like this. It's Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And I am reading this again. I haven't read it for actually about 3 or 4 years. And I've read this book, as you can tell, a lot. This is one of my probably 4 or 5 copies in the house. But I'm reading this again because my 15-year-old is also reading it. And I thought, what a great time for us to do that together and to discuss it. I read this book for the first time when I was 11 years old. Absolutely fell in love with it. And you know, the drama of Jane Eyre just really appeals to an 11-year-old, at least 11-year-old me, who was a sucker for a good drama. And I just absolutely love it. And I know that there's a lot of mixed reactions to Jane Eyre, because the hero of our story, not the hero, because Jane is our hero. Jane is the hero, and she's amazing. But her love interest is an interesting guy. So I'm well aware of all the problems that exist in this book. It doesn't matter. I love it so much. And since I've been doing a lot of little kind of picky projects that I've needed to work on that are kind of busy work, but not needing all of my attention, in preparation for our events next week, I've also been rewatching my 2 favorite video versions of this. And the first one is the very, very the most faithful to the book version is, I believe it's a PBS. I think it's PBS, but it's an 11-part series. Each series, though, is only a half an hour. Like each episode is only a half an hour. So it's a 5.5-hour production from 1985, starring Timothy Dalton and now I can't remember her name. It's Zayla something. I can't remember her last name. Anyway, I'll see if I can link at least to some kind of a listing about it. But that one is the most faithful video version of that adheres to the book most closely. It's 1985, and it's, I think, PBS. So it's dramatic. It's great. I love it. But then one that is a little less faithful, but I love the characterization even more, is one that is starring Ruth Wilson and Toby. Toby, what's your last name? Come on. What is it? He's Maggie Smith's son, Toby Stevenson. And that one isn't quite as faithful to the book, like 100%. I think it does a really beautiful job, but I just love the way the characters are portrayed in that one. Oh, Toby Stevenson is an excellent Mr. Rochester. He's really, really, really good, and their relationship is fabulous. So that has been I almost always watch one of those series and then directly watch the other one. Whichever way it goes, whichever one I watch first, I always want to watch the other one right after. I mean, I'm not in one sitting, but like that's going to be my next watch after that. And so I love it. And I think when you've read a book and you have a story that has been part of your life for so long, it feels like coming home when you read it, doesn't it? It's just like, it's a delicious, comforting, centering experience, because it links back to all the previous experiences you've had with it. And that's how I feel about Jane Eyre. As you can tell, very well loved. Oh my goodness. So if you have never read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, I thoroughly recommend it. It's my favorite of any Bronte novel, for sure, by far. Love it. And that is my book recommendation. So there you go. I think that is everything. Although I forgot to give you my little update. I have to give you a grandson update because, he's so cute. So Adam is doing so great. And I probably won't, after this time, continue to do updates about him every single time, because we've gotten through the roughest patch with him. For anybody who doesn't know, he was born 6 weeks early. My daughter spent 2 weeks in the hospital before he was born. And then he spent 7 weeks in the newborn intensive care unit. And he has now been home for 4 weeks. He is off his oxygen. He is off his feeding tube. He is eating like a champ and growing like crazy and just being as cute and happy and healthy as we could desire. And what an amazing miracle. Just such a blessing. He is still a little bit, I would say, he's closer to what his gestational age is in development, which is very common for preemies. So he's more like a month old as far as a lot of his development, but then other things are more like his age of 2.5 months old. But he'll catch up super fast with anything that isn't quite there. Like his muscle tone in his neck is still pretty low, and he still does a lot of sleeping, more like a newborn. But he's only 2.5 months old. He is the cutest little button. He is so squishy. He's getting those nice squishy cheeks, and he just, it's delicious. Absolutely delicious. What is it about babies that makes you, at least makes me, I know a lot of people that I know are this way as well. We always say, oh, they're so tasty. They're so yummy. They're so delicious. I just want to bite their little cheeks. I mean, you don't really want to bite them, but there's just something that you're just like, oh, so good. That's how he is. He's just so cute. So thank you for everybody who has had him in their prayers. He is doing great. And I just can't say enough what a miracle I think this whole process has been for him. So he is awesome. So that is all I have. I will be back. I should be back in 2 weeks. We'll be done with all our big events by then. And yeah. And I'm sure I'll have something to show you, works in progress, because I'll probably cast something on like today or tomorrow. It doesn't matter how busy I am. There's always still going to be knitting happening because I can do it in the nooks and crannies of the day, And so I will be back in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, have a great time with all of your making, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.